Hi, welcome to Rajalnai. In this today's video, we are going to discuss about a case study, something relating to language learning portal and as well as text to speech for travel and as well as mobile applications. As you all know, I'm conducting a series of videos on case study related stuff to the people who are applying for job opportunities, especially to the target of business analyst people, whoever is applying for job opportunities. At the same time, these videos are helpful even for IT people, maybe people who are into development testing, all that. Because the major challenge nowadays, most of the people were facing to explain about what they did. Because even though people have some real-time experience or people whoever has a real-time exposure, as far as my experience is concerned, what I have gone through, when as I'm interacting with people for a very long time in terms of training, coaching, consulting, and mentoring people, they're finding difficulties in explaining what they did or what they had exposure of, especially in context to the projects. Miserably, people were failing to a limited extent. I don't say to the full extent. Miserably, some people were facing in failing in interviews, right? So, which is leading to distress to them. So, in order to remove this confusions as well as to make people to support these videos I'm making. So coming back to the video, this is about language learning portal, as I mentioned, as well as text to speech travel mobile apps. Major domain, whatever I have taken is something relating to travel and hospitality. Whenever you want to explain a case study or whenever you want to explain a project to someone, either to your teammates or when we go for an interview, it is always important for us how you are presenting it. So that presentation is something essentially important, even though how well experienced and exposure we have. Within span of 10-15 minutes or half an hour of time, how effectively you are presenting the project and case study to make people to understand is essentially required. So on that context, first of all, we need to understand the background. Right? So for example, who is the customer here, right? So if you can see here, right, as an introduction, the customer is an American company who has been offering language learning solutions to different countries since 2012, all that. And their organization mission is to revolutionize the way of people learn languages and all. And majorly, these people were focusing towards useful to the people who are traveling. Right? So because people travel across the world in from different countries to other countries, sometimes language will become a barrier, right? So in terms of the communication, whenever we speak, language will be a barrier. So that communication, like what is that are we asking and what other people were understanding may have some differences. In that context, these people wants to provide some application, right, some app. So the major challenge what an organization is facing was mentioned here, right? So because there are market of travel apps with their innovative linguistic vision, customer wants, this is what generally the challenge was mentioned here, right? Customer needed to create a travel oriented language learning solution which must be comprising of web portal and as well as mobile apps for iOS and Android, because nowadays everyone have their own Android mobiles or iOS mobiles and all. So whatever the app they were planning to develop, which will be useful for each and every traveler, because every traveler will have a communication device which is called a mobile. So either it could be an iOS or an Android one, right? So that is what their major requirement was. At the same time, they have identified the customer expected these apps to be provided to text to speech feature, which a native speaker's pronunciation, implying the usage of large amount of medium of data, right? So customer expectation was also identified by the organization. What is that customer expectation? Customer is expected the apps to be provided a text to speech feature. Means whatever the text information, if whenever we give, automatically the text will be converted into speech format or something, right? So that's what of expectations customer has, which was identified and which they have identified itself is a challenge nowadays for them. At the same time, as a web portal, customer didn't have any specific requirements, which posted a challenge on its own, right? So these are the challenges which this organization has identified. So for that, they're expecting someone to develop a solution for this, an application kind of. On this context, they have identified a vendor whom we call it as Jolik. And Jolik is an organization, a product-based company by itself. So they have approached Jolik. So Jolik is developing a solution consists of Android and as well as iOS apps, which majorly used to serve an interactive travel phrasebooks and as well as learning web portal, wherein the advantage is that users can make their language skills by using this application. Majorly, this mobile application is designed and as well as created in a iOS and as well as Android user interfaces, so that any mobile we can use it. At the same time, they have identified this final apps to offer translated into 8 languages, and which are allowed use by different people, because this can be used to look for standard translated phases in apps, majorly topics relating to hotel business, transportation, and all that. At the same time, they also can build customer phrases from separate words or phrase blocks, which will be converted in their mother language or mother tongue, so that they can immediately see each blocks translated in the targeted language, everything. Followed by this, we see phonetic hints on how to pronounce a full phrase correctly, because pronunciation sometimes gives different meaning, right? So the phrasing and pronunciation is also important. So that phonetic hints will also be provided using this app. At the same time, create a personal collection of phrases for further references and future references is also another advantage. So based on by keeping customer requested, Jolik is implementing a text-to-speech feature as well. So wherein the advantage here is that each word and as well as phrase block in the app are linked to the multiple audio files with the native speaker pronunciation of the words in their own languages. So this is where generally the advantage which Jolik has identified to develop the application. At the same time, they have to ensure that whatever the application they are developing is a lightweight one. Of course, this is all something relating to the technicalities of it. At the same time, this learning portal administration panel majorly allows customer to use these things, right? So these are the major things which we need to know, right? As far as the learning portal itself is concerned, customer can upload, edit video, audit, and as well as graphic files. Along with this, they can arrange all media materials according to the different topics and as well as set up a custom sequence of their presentations, all that. Followed by this, they can create training and as well as revision exercises to build learning competencies, all that stuff. Apart from that, they can design and update interactive tests for learners, which will be used to assess the progress and highlights of the knowledge gaps, etc. So these are the major advantages a customer will get out of this learning portal administration panel if they are using it. So as this is an application which was developed, designed and developed by Jolik, by their designers and as well as their technical team was developed. So for that, they have chosen a technology, right? So here is the technology which was mentioned, like iOS and as well as iOS SDK, followed by this Xcode UI kit, or at the same time core data, followed by this Ruby and as well as Bash scripting will be used. Followed by this, nowadays GitHub and all, everything is required. So Git they have used. Even for a project to interact with customer management, people management, project management and all, they have used a word called Jira here. At the same time, for queries and all that, they have used jQuery. For markup languages, used something like HTML. At the same time, cascading style sheets, which is called CSS, cascading style sheets and all that. At the same time, they have used an API for because API is important, wherein if you write an API so that extracting information is possible, we can access, right? So Stripe API is what generally they have used. So at the same time, PHP, of course, last but not least, PHP was also used here in JavaScript. So these are the technologies and tools and technologies which Jolik has used to develop this application. So this is how generally we have to explain. So whenever we are explaining a case study or a project to someone, we need to explain about the background first. Next, we have to explain about the kind of challenges. Against to the challenges, what solutions are we developing? Followed by this, how and what is that we are developing and what advantages are there in this existing solution or the application. Let's say that it's a mobile app, how it is, and what are all the advantages a customer can get out of it, and what technologies we have identified to develop this application, app, all that stuff, right? So this is how generally a project has to be explained to someone, whoever wants to present something to their teams. Because for being a business analyst, if you want to explain what exactly the product or a project we are developing to your technical team, right? If that was the case, or else whenever we go for an interview, if you want to explain about what exactly the project ours is and how to explain the project, because most of the people will apply for job opportunities. Either you may be a business analyst, you may be a developer, you may be a tester, or you may be of any other role. So we put some projects, right? So based on the experience and as well as the exposure we have, we put some projects. But how that can be delivered to the people within a limited time? Because when we go for interviews, especially, you may have 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour time. Within the time, how effectively we are presenting ourselves will give an advantage. So interview-based understanding and interview-based skill set is what one has to learn. That is essentially required and essentially important. By keeping that into an account, apart from the professional experience, what we have, right? What are our credibilities, right? So apart from all that, if someone is asking us how and what exactly your project was, right? So what is that you did? So that effectiveness is important, because one of the key element to make ourselves successful in interview for the people who are attending for interviews I'm talking about, or else people who wants to pursue their excellence in the organization itself for while explaining the projects and all. So this is how generally we have to learn, right? So this is what it is. So my major intention is to provide as maximum as training and as well as coaching to the people who are applying for job opportunities or who wants to pursue their career in any of the field. How to excel and how to excel and how to improve their presentation. Presentation need not be a communication skills or language skills all about, right? So that is one kind of medium we are using it. But end of the day, how we are presenting the information within the limited time is important, because most of the people have the difficulty. They may have, for example, a person is having, or an individual is having more than 8 years or 9 years of experience. But when they go for attending for an interview or interacting someone, the amount of time which will be allotted for them will be very limited. Maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes or so. Within that 30 minutes, whatever the experience we have, that we have to showcase. That is important. That is where we call it as presentation. That is nothing to do with only language all the time, but how you are presenting yourself and how you understood what is that we had. So how we are presenting to the people is important. So that sort of skills, that sort of coaching and as well as training is what I'm providing to the people, so that it will be more helpful one way or other way. It will be more helpful to reach the professional goals of the individuals. So my major focus is something relating to that. That's the reason why I'm making this video, so that people will have more understanding, right? So they can train themselves, they can coach themselves, so that they can excel in their professional career. And I'm hoping so even. So this is all about this video. If you have any queries regarding this, or if you have any kind of training and coaching, as well as consulting and mentoring related services and all, to excel in your professional career, please reach out to the contact details, which will be posted in below to this video. Thank you.